Welcome to Lesson 5 of mySci Unit 18, Our Dynamic Earth. In Lesson 5, students will answer the question, how do weathering and erosion affect Earth's landforms? Students will continue to explore the processes that cause Earth's surface to change. In this lesson, they will investigate how weathering and erosion affect Earth's features and the factors that can affect the rate at which these processes occur. They figure out that weathering and erosion rates can be affected by many factors. Some are natural, such as flooding, while some are the result of human-environment interaction, such as the removal of vegetation that holds soil in place. In the engaged portion of this lesson, students will observe images of the Earth's surface and consider the questions. Did it take a short time to make the land look this way or a long time? What do you think it looked like long ago? What caused it to change? And what do you think you could find inside the rocks? Next, students will watch time-lapse videos of Earth's surface using a variety of online resources. They will discuss what they observe about the landscape over time and how long they think it takes for changes of Earth's features to occur. For example, students could observe time-lapses of meandering rivers in Peru in order to begin thinking about water as an erosive force that reshapes the land. In the Explore portion of this lesson, students will observe a demonstration and conduct investigations to explore how weathering and erosion change Earth's surface and determine the rate at which these processes occur. Students will use the station's observation student journal pages to read each testable question, develop a hypothesis, follow a procedure, record observations, and draw conclusions. To begin, students will observe the glacial erosion model as a teacher demonstration. You will need to create the glacial goop ahead of time using water, Elmer's glue, and borax. Detailed directions are located in the teacher pages. Students will observe how the glacial goop moves along a tilted sandy surface in order to answer the testable question, how does the steepness of slope affect erosion by glaciers? Students should recognize that as the glacier moves, it picks up and transports sand to new locations. Additionally, the steeper the slope, the faster the rate of erosion. Next, students will rotate between three stations' activities. At Station 1, students will observe a chemical weathering model to answer the testable question, how does changing the type of rain affect the rate of weathering of rock? Students will use an eyedropper to add vinegar to a Tums sample and water to a second Tums sample. They will compare differences in their reactions. Vinegar should cause the Tums to bubble, while water does not. At Station 2, students will observe a water erosion model, often referred to as a stream table, to answer the testable question, how does the steepness of slope affect erosion by water? Students will simulate rainfall and observe how the water and land interact when the tray is flat and compare this to the tray tilted on a block. Students should recognize the greater the slope, the more quickly water erosion occurs. If water moves faster, it picks up a larger amount of sand and moves the sand a greater distance. This results in more erosion. At Station 3, students will observe a wind erosion model to answer the testable question, how does the speed and/or direction of wind affect the rate of erosion? Students will blow air through a straw to simulate wind. They can model the strength of the wind by blowing with more or less force. Additionally, they can change the angle of the straw to model wind from different directions. Students should observe the faster the wind is moving, the more erosion that occurs. Additionally, the angle affects the direction of erosion. In the Explain portion of this lesson, students will obtain information from video resources about weathering and erosion and how these processes affect Earth's landforms. Students will record their ideas in their student journal. They should recognize that weathering is the breakdown of rocks and other parts of the geosphere. Erosion is the movement of weathered material by natural forces. Ice, water, and wind are all agents of weathering and erosion. Students should make connections between these definitions and examples from their explorations. For example, the Tums activity modeled chemical weathering, while the glacier model, stream table, and wind model all simulated erosion. These processes significantly alter the Earth's surface over time. Next, students will consider what factors can affect the rate of erosion. They will watch a video to consider how the presence or absence of grass could affect the rate of erosion. Additionally, they will consider what types of human activities can remove vegetation that helps stabilize soil and reduce erosion. In the elaborate portion of this lesson, students will plan and carry out their own investigation to deepen their understanding of weathering and erosion. Students will develop testable questions based on a given set of materials, including trays, wood blocks, soil, cups, small plastic blocks representing houses, water, rulers, and any other materials you would like to make available. Possible testable questions include: how does the intensity of rainfall affect the rate of erosion? How does the duration of rainfall affect the rate of erosion? How does the presence or absence of vegetation affect the rate of erosion? How does the texture of the soil affect the rate of erosion? And how does the surface area affect the rate of erosion? Students will use evidence from their investigation to answer the question, how did the factor you investigated affect the height of the hill or rate of erosion? To help students answer this question, discuss the components of a strong scientific argument. Students must make a claim that answers the question at hand, explain what evidence they have in support of the claim, and describe how that evidence supports their claim using scientific reasoning. For an additional application, students can make connections between plate motion and weathering and erosion in order to explain why some mountains, like the Himalayas, are bigger and younger than mountains like the Appalachians. In the evaluate portion of this lesson, students will complete a formative assessment. They will compare the Mississippi Delta in New Orleans, Louisiana in 1984 and 2016, explaining how the location has changed over time and what caused these changes to occur. They will use their learning from the lesson to provide examples of factors that affect the rate of weathering and erosion. By the end of this lesson, students will have observed and described different causes of erosion, explained the process of weathering, and observed and measured the effects of weathering and erosion on Earth's surface.